Tabletop gamers, and welcome back to our How to Play Starbreach series. This is part 2 in a 2-part series covering all the different mechanics and phases of playing a game of Starbreach. Thanks for tuning in. In this episode, what we're going to be looking at is quickly going over the special actions phase, which follows the order dice phase, as well as the end phase of a turn. And we're also going to be looking at the unique elements of a mech model, as well as the effects of terrain. So let's dive right in. So the special action phase in a game of Starbreach immediately follows the order dice phase. The order dice phase is completed when all of the order dice come out of the dice bag, and both sides have completed all of their orders. So in this case, this example here, everyone's got an order die, and we move into the special actions phase. During this phase, what happens is it's alternating actions, starting with the player who pulled their die second. So whichever player got to go first in the order dice phase will essentially go second in the special actions phase. So that's kind of how that works. The special actions that you can give in the special actions phase are fourfold. And they can only be given to soldiers who have an initiative of 4 or higher. Also, on top of that, they can only be given to soldiers who have only taken certain actions in the order dice phase. So certain orders, I should say, in the order dice phase. So, for example, of our 3 guys here, even though maybe all 4 of them have an initiative of 4, so they're eligible to take special actions, our soldier here ran previously in the order dice phase, and he will not be able to take a special action. Running, mend, and cover fire orders basically negate a soldier's ability to take a special action in the special action phase. So yeah, that's kind of just the gist of the special actions phase. Now let's kind of get into those 4 different special actions that we can take. The first special action that a soldier can take is quite simple. It's mend. And it's exactly the same as the mend order. When I'm giving a soldier a special action, I can use any sort of chit or token that I have on hand, maybe one of my favorite tokens, or just a playing chip or a penny or something that's going to note that I'm going to give an order, a special action order to a soldier. Just like the order dice phase, I'm going to immediately execute that action and see the results. And then my opponent will get to automatically choose an action in the special actions phase for one of his soldiers that are eligible to do so. So in this case, if I chose mend, this soldier would roll 1d6, 1-to-1 ratio corresponding whatever I roll. The face value of the die is how many health value my soldier would regain. So that's how we give a special action, and that's also the mend order. So the next action I may choose to give during the special actions phase is the assault action. And similar to the mend action as it relates to the mend order, the assault action is not really too different from the assault order in the order dice phase. The only difference is that the soldier is not going to double their movement to make this assault move. They have to be able to do it within their natural movement value. So in this case, I would take a chip and put it on my dice to show that this soldier is taking a special action, and I would declare my assault. Now, my target soldier, who I would be trying to assault, would have the option to make a fire response if the soldier has a special action allowance to do so, if they haven't already taken a special action and they have the ability to do so. Unfortunately for this soldier here, as you can see, he's already taken a run order previously in this turn, and he is not able to take a special action during the special action phase. So he wouldn't be able to respond with a fire. I would then measure the distance from my assaulting soldier to this soldier here, and then move the soldier. Similar to a run and assault order, I'd also be able to kind of jump small barriers, move over terrain, things like that to get into close combat. So yeah, that's just kind of how we would end up here, and we would go into a round of close combat here in the special action phase. And that is the assault action. So the next special action I could take in the special action phase is the focus fire action. It's a bit different from the fire order in the order dice phase, in that the focus fire action is a special action that is taken to where the soldier really kind of focuses in on one particular target and takes a well-aimed shot. So this is a great opportunity to kind of negate cover and as well as a model being down, because that's exactly what this kind of shot does. So if I was going to give this Coven veteran trooper back here a special action, I might say I want to give him a focus fire order. I could then aim my shot at this Rock Warlord model here, who is currently under some pretty good cover, who now is not going to be able to use that cover as an initiative modifier when rolling for attack rolls and dodge rolls. And remember, I already covered attack rolls, dodge rolls, and close combat in the How to Play Star Breach video part 1. So immediately into a rolling of an attack roll, a dodge roll, and we find out if the shot hit and if the shot wounds. And that's focus fire. One thing to remember about focus fire, though, is if this soldier had previously taken an advance order, let's say a 5, he could still take a focus fire shot. However, he's going to have a -1 initiative for still moving and shooting during this turn. So that's just something to keep in mind when you do focus fire. The other thing with focus fire is that if you give a soldier focus fire and he has psychic abilities, he may also choose to use this time to cast a psychic ability as well. So focus fire can be quite useful. So the fourth and final special action that you can give during the special action phase is the ambush action. And how that works is pretty simple, mechanically speaking. Basically, you're going to just say your soldier's going into ambush. You would place a chit on the order die, and your soldier would go down. I do want to make that clear. The soldier can go down in special actions phase by taking an ambush order, because effectively he will go down and be considered down. So that can be useful for grabbing objectives. However, the other thing to keep in mind is that while the soldier's in ambush, he may use his ambush during the special actions phase, or he can actually hold on to the ambush all the way up through the next turn as well. So even when we hit the end phase and the order dice are collected, this chit would still stay with this soldier, marking that he is still in ambush. And what ambush is going to do is basically kind of set this soldier up that he's going to be able to make a fire order or a cover fire order reaction to the movement of an enemy. So if an enemy soldier, the opponent, gets to pull a dice, he gives some sort of movement order to one of his soldiers. This soldier here, who's in ambush, when the soldier moves into line of sight, will be able to respond with that cover fire or fire order, his choice. And that soldier who is moving has to immediately stop right where this ambushing soldier chooses in line of his movement, and he gets to make his fire order. If that order hits, that soldier also has to go down. So ambush is really great for kind of stopping momentum and guarding an area. Going down in the special action phase, ambush can be quite useful. So yeah, that is the fourth special action of the special actions phase. I should note that ambush also can be canceled. So just so you know, you don't have to stay in ambush forever. If you find that it's inopportune in the coming turn and you need to give this soldier another order, you can do so by just giving him a new order dice and canceling the ambush action. But yeah, that's the fourth special action of the special actions phase. Now let's talk a little bit more about mechs. So in the multiverse of Star Breach, almost every warband has the opportunity to take models called mechs. And these are basically kind of oversized battle suits or some sort of weapons platform, or kind of an ogreish size soldier who is going to have a few different special rules of their own. It's not too different. They're going to take orders the same, they're going to take special actions the same, but they have just a couple of exceptions to note. First of all, what you're going to notice here, I have two mech specialists next to soldier companions here, is their base size is going to be, their base allowance is going to be higher. For mechs, you can take up to 40, 50, even if you and your opponent agree 60 millimeter base sizes. Yeah, so you'll be able to take a kind of a larger model. The other benefit with a mech as well is you're going to be able to fire both the weapons, primary and secondary, at the same time when giving an order, a ranged attack order, such as a fire or cover fire or focus fire. What's really neat about that is you don't have to fire at the same soldier, and that's another benefit with the mech. There are some negatives to having mechs. Being so big, they don't really benefit from going down, and they also don't benefit from any cover rules, apart from completely obscuring cover. The other negative with mechs is that they can break down fairly easily as they take more damage. So while they do have a lot more armor and a lot more health, over time as they take damage to their health, you're going to see some negative mech health chart effects, and that's important to also check into the rules as well. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of cover mechs. They're really fun additions to most warbands, and they're a lot of fun to use and play. And I know you'll probably include some in some of your Star Breach warbands as well. So the last thing I wanted to look at in this how-to clip is terrain and its effects in the game of Star Breach. Just like any mini war game, Star Breach is infinitely better with fantastic terrain and scenics. Not only because it just looks better, but also because it garners a lot of additional tactical value, strategic value to your game. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of these terrain effects. The first one here that we're going to look at is fully obscuring terrain. So because this is a full line of sight game, in this scenario, if my soldier was back here looking towards this soldier, he would have a full shot. However, if you moved here, that soldier that he'd be targeting would begin to gain hard cover, and then being completely behind this piece, he would be under fully obscuring terrain, and that means that he would not be able to be targeted whatsoever or interacted with range attacks or psychic abilities that require line of sight. So that's obscuring terrain. Over here we have a great example of hard terrain. Hard terrain, or hard cover I should say. Hard cover is any sort of terrain piece that is going to make the soldier, from whatever angle you come at him, still viewable, but if the shot is coming across the cover to get to the soldier, he's going to get a +2 initiative modifier to his dodge roll. Hard cover is, going to be big old chunks of metal and parts of building, and even partial cover from corners, kind of like that guy's soldier back there, things like that. Soft cover, on the other hand, is going to be things that are obscuring the soldier, but that could still be penetrable, such as a field, or maybe some sort of woodworks, or a fence, or a chain link fence, or barbed wire. And in this situation, this soldier here would, if he was being shot at from this angle, would gain a soft cover bonus of +1 to his dodge roll. This piece also could second as another type of terrain piece, which is called difficult ground. Difficult ground can be the hardest to kind of define, and you're going to want to make sure that you talk to your opponent ahead of time to really make clear what is difficult ground and what's not. But basically, difficult ground is going to stop soldiers from being able to make an assault or a run order through the piece. They can still make an advance, they can still move through the piece, but they're not going to be able to make a full sprint through that piece. They're going to have to go around in order to really make some full movement. So yeah, that would be an example of difficult ground. And then the last terrain piece that we can talk about, terrain benefit we would talk about, is the high ground. High ground is when a soldier is at least 3 inches base to base higher than his opponent, and by being higher than his opponent, he's going to gain the benefit of getting a +2 to his attack rolls when making any sort of ranged attack, such as cover fire or fire, by being high ground. There is negative to being high ground. Unfortunately, if a soldier falls from high ground, whether involuntarily or voluntarily, if he's trying to get down really quick, if he falls any greater than 3 inches, for every inch that he falls, he's going to take 1 wound directly to his health. So while you're in high ground and it's really good for ranged attacks, it can be nasty negative if you get knocked off from your perch. So that's kind of the high ground rules. And with that, that is the rules for terrain in Star Breach, as well as the end of our how to play video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying your games of Star Breach. If you have any questions, just let me know. I'd be happy to help you out. And yeah, please feel free to share this game around with all your friends. It's free to play, and I hope that you play it for a long, long time, many years to come. Cheers.